The hearings formally opened on February 3, 1964 at 10:35 a.m., with the testimony, through two interpreters, of Marina Oswald. Rankin himself handled the interrogation and began by asking Lee Oswald's widow if she wanted to correct anything she had told FBI agents in the many interviews they had had with her to date. She did. "Yes, I would like to correct some things because not everything was true," she told the commission. "It is not just that it wasn't true, but not quite exact." She couldn't at that point recall any specific instances, but said, "Perhaps in the course of your questioning, if it comes up, I will say so." The veracity of Marina Oswald was viewed as imperative by the commission, since she was in a unique position to shed light, directly or indirectly, on her husband's motivations and guilt, she being the only witness to most of Oswald's life from the time she met him in Minsk to the night before the assassination. As such, the commission was heavily dependent on her testimony. The overwhelming consensus in the conspiracy community is that Marina Oswald was not a truthful witness. This perception started mostly because of a very ill-advised statement by one of the commission's most distinguished assistant counsels, Norman Redlich, who said in a February 28, 1964 memorandum to General Counsel Rankin, "We cannot ignore, however, that Marina Oswald has repeatedly lied to the Secret Service, the FBI, and this commission on matters which are of vital concern to the people of this country and the world." These loose and incorrect words have been seized upon by Warren Commission critics to rebut Marina's devastating testimony against Oswald. The Warren Commission staff consisted of very bright lawyers who graduated from the nation's finest law schools. Most of them, however, did not have trial lawyer backgrounds, and hence were unaware how extremely common it is for even truthful witnesses to give inconsistent, contradictory, and incorrect testimony. And witnesses, of course, flat out lie all the time on the witness stand. In fact, perjury is so common that instead of being surprised by it, seasoned prosecutors expect it. Redlich was a very bright and highly respected professor at New York University School of Law at the time he was appointed to the Warren Commission staff, but he had never been inside a courtroom, at least as a trial lawyer, and therefore didn't have any frame of reference for the inconsistencies in some of Marina's testimony. Hence, he erroneously concluded she had repeatedly lied. Yet it should be noted that Redlich made his observation about Marina near the start of the Commission's investigation in February of 1964, and even Redlich would later conclude that, based upon everything that I knew, by the time we were finished with our investigation, I would find her a credible witness. I am very familiar with Marina's testimony, and I can say that based on the known record, she was every bit as consistent and truthful in her testimony as 98 or 99 out of 100 witnesses during a trial. In fact, in view of her circumstances, she was surprisingly consistent and truthful. Here is someone who, in 1964, testified for more than 6 days before the Warren Commission. Her testimony in the Commission volumes consuming 215 pages. The pages are small print, so this translates to at least 500 pages of typical courtroom transcript. In addition, she was interviewed in depth over and over again, an unbelievable 46 times before her Warren Commission testimony, by the FBI and Secret Service. In 1978, she gave an additional 201 pages of testimony to the HSCA and was interviewed in great depth by HSCA investigators. When you couple this prodigious, virtually unprecedented amount of interviews and testimony with the fact that at the time of her Warren Commission testimony she was but 22 years old, had a natural and instinctive desire to protect her husband as much as she reasonably could, was highly insecure living as an expatriate in a foreign country whose popular president had been murdered by her late husband, and was operating under the substantial handicap of not speaking or understanding English and had to communicate through an interpreter, it's absolutely remarkable she did as well as she did. With typical witnesses at a trial giving just 1/10 of the vast amount of testimony Marina gave, I can guarantee you I normally would find many, many more examples of inconsistencies and discrepancies in their testimony than were present in Marina's. The very few times Marina was caught in a lie were when she understandably was trying to protect her husband shortly after the assassination. An example is her lie, not under oath, to the FBI, which she subsequently admitted to the Warren Commission, that she had no knowledge that Oswald had taken a trip to Mexico, probably thinking this would somehow be incriminating to him in view of his having instructed her not to tell anyone. But when someone does the opposite and incriminates a loved one, as Marina's testimony before the Warren Commission did concerning the night before and the morning of the assassination, there's hardly any reason to disbelieve what that person says. In fact, it could be said that if someone's lies are almost always in favor of another individual, this only increases the former's credibility when he or she says something damaging about that person.